Tonight's episode of Unreal Cruise News is brought to you by Glossial, shoulder cream of the stars.
Well, hello there. My name is Nigel Billingsworth, captain of the SS Roosterdam. And I'm here today because the boys from the ship show asked me to leave you a very special disclaimer. You see, it's come to our attention that some of you require pre-warning as to whether or not something is intended to be a comedic bit. This cannot be real. This is bollocks. We're explaining comedy now. I can't do this. These boys don't pay me enough. The only reason I'm still here is because of my girlfriend, Wanda.
Hey, doesn't he know we're live? We're live right now.
I could give two hoots. If you don't like it, cut to the cruise director. He's down here. It's 80s night. I can see him down there dancing.
Well, it appears Nigel wanted no part of that, and quite frankly, I don't blame him, because when we have to start explaining comedy to you, you're most likely the problem, and not us. But anyway, the reason I made this video was because way back in October of 2022, my friend Tommy Casabona and I were pier runners on Allure of the Seas in Curacao. And our good friend Tony Barnett from La Lido Loca decided to make a video that, quite frankly, was very creative, very funny, and a tongue-in-cheek way of telling the story from his point of view on how it all went down.
Let me set the stage. Curacao Day, the last port stop of the cruise. Both John and Tommy, they almost missed the cruise ship. That could seem hyperbolistic. Oh yeah, they really were going to miss the cruise ship. Well, I think they were. It was close to 4:30. It was close to the all aboard time. And as I was getting, ready from my shower, the phone rang. Hey, is John in the cabin? No, John is not in the cabin. Have you seen him? No, I have not seen him. We do not show that John is back on the cruise ship. It's the all aboard time. Can you try to message John? I messaged John. Hey man, where are you at? No sooner had I sent that message, there was phone call number 2. It was a different security person. Hey, do you know that your cabin mate John is not currently on the ship and it's past the all aboard time? I answered those questions. I hung up the phone, and as I hung up the phone, I could hear the announcement in the hall, John Clayco and Tommy Casabona, please come to guest services. And look, at this point, based on those conversations, I was almost certain that they had made the decision to keep those guys off of the cruise ship. Selfishly, I was looking around the cabin going, man, I'm gonna have to pack all this stuff up. I know it's a little selfish, but fortunately I didn't have to worry about that, because about 15 minutes later, Johnny Stylish pops his head through the door. He was back. And then that's really when the drama began. It became a tale of who made them almost miss the cruise ship. John basically said that it wasn't really his fault. And then interestingly, our friend Tommy Casabona for the Always Be Booked Cruise podcast, he basically said that the blame was on John and John's desire to get this miracle shoulder cream. And so after hearing that podcast, I was conflicted. I was looking at my friend John there across the room, surrounded by his hats. I was looking at John like, well, you said it was Tommy, but Tommy said it was you. Where's the truth at? That's where my investigative journalism began, and I spent the whole day trying to figure out the he said versus he said. There's really only one answer to the question, who made the last stop before you returned to the ship?
It was me. It was me. It was me. It was me.
Thanks for coming. Somebody call off Chris Hansen. This mystery's been solved. If you're the last person to stop before you get back to the ship, well, it's on you. I think that Tommy Boats is in the clear. Sorry, Johnny Stylish. It's just the way it goes.
Okay, now that we're up to speed, I'm going to tell you why I made this video. So after Tony made his, people had things to say. And when I say they had things to say, I'm talking they jumped right off their pedestal, straight onto their high horse, and just galloped right into the comment section to let us all know how inconsiderate Tommy and I were, how rude it was to keep the staff waiting, how much it cost the ship. But then there were also others who questioned whether or not Tony should even be friends with us.
I would rather be friends with somebody that's 5 minutes late for a cruise ship, that are doing their best to get the most out of this life that is so fragile that could end at any time, instead of being somebody that's like wants to discard people because of a choice they disagree with. And so for those people that suggested I shouldn't have been there for my friends, come on. That's the way friends are. I was there for those guys when they needed me, and those guys are going to be there for me when I need them.
But there was one gentleman who made it very clear that he wasn't sure if Tony was trying to be funny or if he was serious. To me, it was pretty obvious that it was a tongue-in-cheek kind of approach. And I decided right then and there, especially since Tony decided to call me guilty for the pier run in the first place, that I had to make a retort of sorts. Had I known it was going to take me this long, I probably wouldn't have done it. Let's get to the video. I hope you enjoy it. Again, it's comedy. But negative comments are welcome. It'll only enhance the comedy because we'll all go into the comments, we'll screenshot, we'll share, we'll laugh, because we all know. Haters gonna hate, y'all.
Tonight, breaking news in the pier running case between the Rooster and Tommy Casabona. This is Unreal Cruise News.
Good evening and welcome to Unreal Cruise News. I'm Walter Conkbite, and tonight a shocking development in the ongoing Allure of the Seas pier runner case between the Rooster and Tommy Casabona.
Don't let him on!
Tell him to run!
Woo!
Multiple sources have reported the Rooster has obtained the prestigious services of Mr. Paul Atta from the law firm Atta, Gleckler, and Perlman. Just moments ago, a high seas court declared a mistrial due to a conflict of interest with the judge in the original case. In an unexpected twist, Judge Lobster T from La Lido Loca turned out to be a spokesman for the infamous green shoulder juice, Glacial.
When you're in Curacao, don't get back on the ship until you have the green Glacial, the shoulder cream of the stars. Yeah, this is worth missing the ship over.
This is worth missing the ship over.
Wait, I gotta go.
In his original ruling, Judge T cited the Rooster's purchase of Glacial as the deciding factor in his decision in favor of Tommy Casabona. The court also ruled that the new trial must begin immediately on the famous afternoon television program Cruise Court, which is benched by retired Judge Arnold Thumpin. Let's take you live on the scene with our correspondent, Mitch Dewinski, who is standing by outside of the proceedings. Mitch, take it away.
Hey, girl, you stick around after this, we'll head on over to the Waffle House and we'll get scattered, covered, smothered, and chunked, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, are we live? Oh, thank you, Walter. Hey, everyone, it's Mitch coming at you live from outside of Cruise Court Studios, where, as you can see, it's complete pandemonium in anticipation of this Rooster and Tommy Casabona pier running case. Quite frankly, I thought this was over a long time ago, and I pretty much forgot about it until they told me to come here today. But it looks like things are about to get started inside the studio, so let's take you inside.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the case of the Rooster versus Tommy Casabona. I know you've both been sworn in, and I have read your complaints. Rooster, I understand your attorney is present here in the courtroom today. Mr. Casabona, your attorney will be appearing via Zoom, apparently due to a recent bout of scurvy that has left him unable to travel, unfortunately. Today, we're going to hear arguments and see the evidence presented to find out who is at fault for the pier run that occurred on the Allure of the Seas in Curacao on October 20th, 2022. This pier run apparently caused much grief and stress for a lot of people, and certainly caused a whole bunch of trolls to come running out from under their bridges. So we're going to get to the bottom of this today. We're going to start with you, Mr. Atta. Please go ahead and present your case for the Rooster.
Members of the jury, my name is Paul Atta, and I'm from Atta, Locklear and Pearlman, and I'm representing my client, John Klakowski. You see, my client is a family man, a man that loves his family more than anything else. He's a man that fought hard for this country, a man that entertains hundreds of thousands of people hang on, let's strike that from the record. A man that entertains a few people every week with his tomfoolery and laughter and hysterics and his immaculate singing.
Objection, Your Honor!
What's your objection?
Sorry, Your Honor. It's that time of day. Now, what were we talking about?
You objected. What's your objection?
What's my objection? I don't quite remember what my objection was about.
Mr. Farkle, are you on drugs?
Am I on drugs? Well, not today I'm not on drugs.
Mr. Farkle, I would advise you not make a mockery of my courtroom and these proceedings.
Okay, Your Honor. I rescind my objection.
Mr. Atta, you may continue.
You see, my client, John Klakowski, was defamed by Mr. Tommy Casabona. You may ask yourself, why would he want to do that? Well, we're here today to show you and prove to you why and how Mr. Casabona defamed my client, John Klakowski. You see, Mr. Casabona has been after the coveted Wednesday night time slot on YouTube for the cruising community for quite some time now. He's tried to disguise that in many ways, but his masterful plan all came together on that glorious day in Curacao, that day where John and Mr. Casabona almost missed the ship. How did they miss the ship, you might say? He devised a plan of skullduggery to make John look bad in front of everybody. You see, all John wanted to do was finish up the day, grab a keychain for his beautiful daughter Stella, get some shoulder ointment, and get back on the ship where he can continue having fun with all his friends. But Mr. Casabona had another plan, his deviant plan, to make John late for the ship so that he could defame him and take that Wednesday night spot. You see, everywhere they went, Mr. Casabona had to stop for a shot, surprisingly. John pleaded with him, pleaded for his life. No, Tommy, no, we have to get back to the ship. But every time they went past the bar, Mr. Casabona found it necessary to stop and have another shot. This is what caused them to be late, not the fact that John had to stop to make a transaction that really lasted around about 90 seconds. But what about all the times that Tommy had to stop, that Tommy thought that he would stop to have another shot to delay John from getting back to the ship? You see, you'll hear Mr. Casabona and his people say, oh, John was drinking the green juice. You know what? I'd be drinking the green juice too if I had to put up with all those shenanigans from Mr. Casabona. John is a reputable man, a man that you can stand by. Quite frankly, I'd vote for him to be President of the United States. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to introduce to you today in evidence will show to you that the only person you can blame for them being late back to the ship was Mr. Tommy Casabona, not my client, John Klakowski.
Anything else, Mr. Atta?
Your Honor, the defense would like to submit into evidence Article ABB 795-4422-C.
Tommy! It's his fault!
I did not know John also had a stop.
What do you mean?
Anything else, Mr. Atta?
Your Honor, the defense would also like to submit into evidence Article 799-4475, Hut 4.
I gotta get a keychain and Glacial. If we do it here, that's fine. Don't care.
We're following you. We got
Here.
Got him!
Got him!
Anything else, Mr. Atta?
Your Honor, the defense would like to submit 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickled onions on a sesame seed bun.
Hey man, let's roll.
Say no steakhouse.
This is the latest I've ever cut it. And I'm not feeling good about it, my friend.
We're going now.
Oh, dude, you got a beer too? Come on now.
We're taking the beer with us. We're gonna run that pier.
No, I'm ready to roll.
Anything else, Mr. Atta?
Your Honor, the defense would like to submit evidence into the record, please.
There it is. Okay. Oh, perfect. Right here. I found it. $20. Keep the change. Thank you, buddy.
Mr. Farkle, are you prepared to present your evidence?
Yo, I'm confused, Your Honor. I was well prepared, as you can see, to defend my client, Tommy Casabona.
Mr. Farkle, we're going to continue whether you're ready or not. Now state your case for your client, or I will have you removed from this court.
I got nothing, Your Honor. But I do have to say this. Have you seen this man's podcast? If you like cruising, this is a must-see. Are you a cruiser, Your Honor?
Actually, I leave this afternoon on Margaritaville at Sea, but that's neither here nor there. I believe what you're referring to is the Always Be Booked Cruise podcast. I'm familiar with Mr. Casabona's work and his Legion of Loyal Cones, but I'm not really sure how you watch a podcast. Anyway, so in terms of this case, I have to say that I'm very tempted to declare this a mistrial based upon Mr. Farkle's action alone in the courtroom. Plus, I am acutely aware that Mr. Casabona's normal counsel was unable to be here today due to the fact that he's on a cruise himself. All of this is very unfortunate for Mr. Casabona. However, we do have to come up with a ruling here today.
We rest our case.
So taking into account the evidence presented here today, we also have to consider that there is a precedent when it comes to this case. In the 1994 ruling of Spickelmeyer versus Johnson, it was determined that in the case of a pier run involving multiple parties, such as we have here today, it was decided that the guilty party is not the one who made the final stop, but rather the one who makes the most cumulative time in their stops, causing a greater period of being late. So if we take that case and those rulings and apply them to what we have here today, we come out with the fact that, yes, Mr. Rooster did indeed make the final stop. However, his stop only lasted 36 seconds, as we saw on the video evidence. Now, Mr. Casabona, on the other hand, made multiple stops for a cumulative time of 4 minutes and 32 seconds. So, that being said, and that taken into account, this court declares that the guilty party for the pier run is indeed Mr. Casabona. And Mr. Rooster is absolved of all wrongdoing. Furthermore, damages in the amount of $2 shall be paid by Mr. Casabona to the Rooster in the form of a future cruise credit on the Carnival celebration on Pirates and Pier Runners 3. So, this cruise court is adjourned. Bailiff, where's my passport? I got a cruise to catch. I don't want to be a pier runner like these idiots.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did not expect that verdict, that's for sure. And Walter, I tried. I tried real hard to get some commentary from the folks around here. But apparently, in the midst of the proceedings, news dropped on TikTok that some dude named Pete Davidson or something, he must be the great-grandson of Harley himself. Apparently, this boy is dating some girl named Wanda Perlman. And once that happened, everybody scattered around here. Speaking of scattered, hey, there you are. Hey, no pictures now. You don't need to be taking pictures. There'll be plenty of time for that later. Where was I? Oh, listen, I couldn't get any commentary, but I'll tell you this much. One guy came up to me and called me a charlatan, which is weird because everybody knows I'm not from Charlotte. I'm from Tallahassee, y'all. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, that judge had an agenda. I mean, for crying out loud. Tommy Casabona's lawyer looked like a legal genius, in my opinion, but who cares about that? Let's just be honest. The Rooster has zero credibility. The boy doesn't even put out content anymore. At least Tommy puts out content daily. So I don't know what's going on. I don't agree with this ruling. I'm hoping there's an appeal, but I'm starting to get hungry. I'm fixing to hit the Waffle House. Walter, back to you. Hey, you ready? I see you're still back there. Let's go. We'll climb in the RV and hit the high road.
Oh, Mitch. Thanks, Mitch. Well, there you have it, folks. What a turn of events. The verdict has changed, and it looks like the Rooster has cleared his name for now. I'm sure it won't be long until he's back in the news for wearing those silly hats in the MDR, dressing like a chimney sweep on formal night, or being late to the muster drill. Well, that's all we have for this edition of Unreal Cruise News. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Walter Conkbite saying